What up and welcome. I'm Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer. This is my YouTube channel, Coded Design, where I teach coding and user interface design. This video is part of a series that I'm busy with, real life application in PHP. In this series, I'm giving you all the behind the scene and how I do things when it comes to application development. So in this video, I want us to talk about the file structure, how I have structured this project. In case you didn't see the overall functioning of the project, it's an accounting system. I'm gonna put a link to that video where I demonstrate everything, but for now I'm just gonna give you a snapshot of what's going on, and then we're gonna jump straight to the file structure. So this is just an accounting system, and then you log in. It has got two layouts, this one and also this one. So you can click clients. This is where you add a client, and this is a list of all the clients. And then we've got quotation. You can create new quotation. You see, these are the items. You can add the items that you want, and you can choose the customer, and if it's not added, you can go back and add the customer. Then we've got invoices, we've got items, we've got point of sale system works like this, and that's almost just about it. So in this video I want to talk about the file structure, how I structure the files of the application. So I'm gonna read the directories or the folders from the first one up to the last one, and I'm gonna explain a little bit in details about the content. So we're gonna open the folder and just talk about the files that are there. I want you to have a general view of the structure of the overall apps, and also I want to know why I do things that way, and also what's inside the folders. So let's just go to this. This is the folder that I have. It's the application. That's the name of the folder that has got everything. As you have seen, that this is gonna be a web app. So there is here dot idea. This file, I don't have a clue as to what it wants here, but when you open it, you can see the module and there is workspace. I'm just assuming that it's maybe created by Visual Basic, maybe, so that when I open this directory, then there will be the tabs here which were there before I close the file. That's my biggest assumption, but I don't have a clue as to who created this file, so I'm not gonna delete it for now. Now the folders that I'm aware of, starting from here, we've got assets. What are assets? Assets are all the files that I'm going to need in this application, like the load GIF, the spinning thing. When I'm clicking, it's not here. Okay, I haven't used it here, but it's just a spinning a GIF that let's say when you are busy working in the background, so that the system can show you that it's busy in the background. Then we've got load, we've got the logo. These are different versions of the logo. We've got the logo on a dark background, and we've got the logo on the white background. Let me just see. This is a logo on a white background. Let me just quickly see if we don't have it on a darker background. Yes, here is a version of the identity on a dark background, as you can see. So in assets, it's just all those things. It's like your pictures, maybe your sound, your mp3s, if your application deals with sound, anything that it's an asset, an external asset that you need, then this is where I put them. And then here there is an auto load. Okay, and an auto load, it's a file that automatically loads your script whenever you create object, whenever you instantiate object that will need that file. So instead of loading your file automatically in terms of PHP by requiring them or by putting an include word there, it's either you include them or you require them. So auto load makes it easy for me to automatically load files. So this is my auto load file, so this folder is for that. Okay, and then I have got classes. So these are my objects, I can say, like these are my classes. All the classes that I will instantiate, they will be like here in this class. Like I think all the classes that relates to the application itself, I think they will be here, like dealing with the main module. All the classes that deals with the main module of the app. For instance, let's say I've got quotations, then quotation will be there as a module, invoices, items, you know. So here I will have classes that relates to the overall app, general app, not like in details. So let's just get into details. As you can see, I've got a class that connects me to the database. I've got Philantro. Philantro is I can say it's a library that I've created for myself, trying to offload or to take off the responsibility of every time creating a class that will connect to the database. So I decided to create my own library that will help me to connect to the database. So that is Philantro. So if I want to, at any point in time, let's say I want to connect to the database, I will create a new object of Philantro and then use some methods in Philantro that will help me to query to the database, pass some parameters and get what I want, instead of always typing the connection, typing an SQL string. So this one, it's a library like that. It's my own library. And then we've got here FPDF. FPDF makes it possible for me. It's a class that makes it possible for me to create PDFs. As you can see here, our system can generate PDFs. So that is this class, and the rest, it's all my classes that relates to the overall module of the app. So these are classes. So whenever I want to create a class, I just come here and create a new class. And then we've got controllers. Talking of the MVC, as you can see that this is my model, these are my views, and these are my controllers. So all my controllers are here. So these are also classes, but these classes they do a specific task. That's why I didn't put them here. These classes serves as part of the MVC, model view controller. So meaning that if I've got this, let's say if I've got this whatever, let's say if I've got this chart as a view, this chart as a view, and then let me just quickly open something so that you can see this in real life. That is it. So if I've got the chart as a view, the chart will need some information, it will need some data, it will need to get the data from the database. So it can't just be a view, it must have a controller that will feed it with information. Let me show you in the side. It will need information in order for it to work. So as you can see that this is the chart, so it will need some data in order for it to work. So controllers are those classes which are just sitting at the back of the views, making sure that your views are fed with the information that they need. So we've got this view, but at the back of this view there is a controller that feeds it with information. So controllers are classes, yes, but they some sort of are responsible for a certain specific task. They are not just generally for the entire app, the main module, but they just serve specific purpose. I can say they are sitting right back behind the views, so that's why I decided to put them here as the controllers. Then we've got CSS. So this is the app CSS. This is the styling of the overall app not like, let's say, specific HTML element. So this is the styling of the overall app. And then from here I've got functions. Here in functions, let me just quickly open so that we can see. For instance, I've got a function dump here. So as I'm working on the app, at some point, sometimes I might want to know what's in this variable at this point in time. So instead of every time typing, in fact, starting from here, echo pre-tag var dump this variable, and then from then close the pre-tag. Instead, I've just got a function. This one is just for debugging purposes. I can say if I want to see, it's just for testing as I'm debugging or tracing down my variables. If I want to see what's going on in that variable, I will just call this function, because this file is going to be included globally in the entire application, so I can access it anytime. This is just for me to see what's going on there, and also get this serve the same purpose when I want to alert something to the screen or to quickly display something to the screen. So this does that. I'm assuming that I will delete this folder when I'm done. I'm assuming, because it just helped me for testing my code. I will delete it when I'm done. And then I've got generated documents. I've got invoices and quotations. So this accounting system generates some documents, like it generates some codes. Obviously this invoice breaks. It generates some quotation, so you can create a code here, and then from there you click OK, you generate a code. Here is a list of generated quotations, and then from then you can create a PDF version of those quotations. So here these are generated documents. If we check on quotation, we've got some documents that were generated by this app. So this folder serves that. And then we've got include. Here on include, at the moment I've got variables. I don't think I am using this folder that much, but the idea behind the folder was that, let's say I've just got a list of variables that I want them to be available globally in the entire application. Then I know that, okay, those variables will be here under this folder under include. So what sort of variables? Maybe, like, let's say if I've got some locations, some directories in my application that I don't have to always retype, then if those variables could contain, or that array could contain, a list of paths or directories, then I know I'm just going to use that global variable and access a certain path. And then I've got JS. This is JavaScript. Obviously here I'm using as you can see here, I'm using jQuery. So this is JavaScript for the entire app. And then here I've got models, part of MVC, all the classes that are here that are responsible for connecting to the database. And then I've got public. Don't mind about these files, I'm gonna delete them. I was testing, maybe it's part of the things that I have to delete. So I've got public. Here, when you are taking your site live, when you are running it live, I usually use a control panel, cPanel. Maybe it depends on who's hosting your website, but I use cPanel. So in cPanel, when you get into the back end where you're going to upload this folder, I've noticed that I used to see there is a folder with labeled www, and that's it. And then also at the same time there will be a public folder at the same time. When you click on that www folder, and the icon of that www folder, it's like your website or your internet icon. So when you click there, the files that you see there are also the files that you are going to see on public. Before, it used to be confusing when I was only doing some informational website. I used not to understand why there are two folders that have got the same thing or whatever. But as I was getting into web development, I realized that in the server there is a folder that make things accessible to the public. and outside the scope of that folder, things are not accessible to the public. It's only the server that can access those files. So that's the idea here with this public. So before, I used to have this index just sitting here after at the end of all these directories, but as I've been learning coding or learning web development with PHP, I realized that some servers, they've got public here where everything that is going to be available to the public sits here. For instance, if you go here and click here, as you can see that you are presented with the index.html. So everything inside that index.html, it's gonna be public. However, when you are writing the website live, obviously it doesn't show you the public. It will just show you www.yourdomain and then let's say www.nativeaccounts.co.za, and automatically it will present you with all the information that is in this public folder. So everything outside this public folder is not available to the public. So why this public folder is important, or why this folder is important, that things that are going to be public, they must be here. Number one, you don't want important information about your application to be accessible, whether it's your carelessness or it's an accident from the server side. You want to make sure that in any case those things are not available. What are those things? For instance, connecting to the database, and also the password to your database and the login details. Those things must not be seen by the public. There must not be any chance that they might get there. Even if someone wants to come here and hack something and try whatever they want to do, the only information that they have, they are dealing with only this information. As you can see here, there is not much information or sensitive information. So that's why I adopted a structure or a certain thing of having a public folder there, so that I can put whatever that's going to be available to public on the public folder, and the rest is not available. It can only be used by the application itself. And then I've got libraries. Okay, as you can see here, I've also got Philantro as a library, similar to this one that is there on classes, the one that I've created for connecting to the database. I also created another Philantro for helping me with the user interface. For instance, let me just quickly show you something here. What is it for? Let's just go to quotation list. Okay, and then let me just say, and then as you can see here, I've got radio buttons. So when I click this one, you will notice that when I click this one, you will notice that this one is disabled and this one is checked. This one is disabled, this one is checked. So what helps me to do that, it's that Philantro class that I've created for the user interface. So it's just a group of functions that are helping me so that I cannot repeat myself. So now whenever I've got checkboxes, I know that I'm gonna take those checkboxes, push them to Philantro. Let's say in Philantro, it's there's a method, a function that helps me to select one, to pick one radio button to activate. Then it will do that instead of me typing it manually. And also Philantro helped me with user interface validation. For instance, if I don't put, let me check if it's gonna happen. Okay, so you see, input required by red highlighted feed. This comes from Philantro. So now in whatever application that I'm doing, I don't have to write this again. So this comes from that Philantro. So all this has been done by that JavaScript Philantro. So the idea is, I just, in this button, I just take all these input and push them through Philantro. Philantro will look through them and see if they are empty. If they are empty, it will only highlight the empty one. If maybe it's not empty, it will remain black. That means it's not empty. So these things so that class philanthro or that library, it's helping me for those things. So I've created it. It's here. It has got a lot of functions that relates to the UI to just quickly help me to validate or to do the minor things so that I can focus on the important things. So these are all the libraries. As you can see, it's Font Awesome, jQuery, and others. And then we've got views. Obviously, views are all your HTML script or HTML pages, like what everything that you see here fall into the views. So that is it for the structure. That is it for the structure of let me close this one. So that is it for the structure of this application. It's an accounting application that I'm developing. The idea here is to show you everything, how I'm making it. If you are interested on, maybe you want to know how I did something on what we've seen so far, or you've seen on the previous videos, you can just write a comment below and tell me that you are interested in this. Can I explain this, or whatever that you want to know about the application. So the purpose or the intention of this series is to show you everything, including my mistakes and all my bad code and the dumb things that I do as a developer, or everything, my failures and my mistakes and my advantages. I want to expose all that, because in most videos when you watch them, you see that okay, maybe everything works, but you don't have an background, behind the scene of everything when the app was developed and what they are struggling with. I want to show you everything, even my messy code and my spaghetti code sometimes. So this is work in progress. So I'm interested on maybe seeing you on another video, or if you can watch also the next video and the previous videos of this series, so that you can see everything, so that you can witness an accounting system being started with the messy code, the spaghetti code, and then being changed into a beautiful and fully functional code. Otherwise, for me, Matthew Msingati, thank you so much for watching. If you feel like this video has added value into your overall understanding of HTML and JavaScript and PHP, please subscribe.